Attention, no fly zone. Let's move to the first slide. Of course, it moved. Again, I'm talking about probably one of the names of the last 2 weeks. Boeing, it's remained volatile. That 737 MAX 9 is grounded indefinitely, which led to the big move to the downside. But we had to move to the upside yesterday because it's got 150 planes that were ordered from India's newest airline. Did you guys join this Boeing party eventually? I thought you were staying.
I messed it up.
Joined,
I
right?
messed it up.
Boeing had another problem this morning with the
Boeing trade? Yeah.
No, with the
Damn, did I really freeze?
fire on a plane in Miami.
Son of a bitch.
What is he talking to?
It continues. Boeing trading 210.
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe I bought the stock at 210, 208, and then down to 200. I'm like,
You got scared, little Italian boy.
I think we lost Jamal.
I think we did too.
Anyway.
But anyway, while we get him back on, Boeing had another issue this morning in Miami. Did you see that, Tom?
No.
Yeah, a plane took off from Miami International Airport. Nobody was hurt or anything like that. It circled back around, but there's some really scary footage of it on fire as it's taking off. And
What airline was it?
An Atlas Air Boeing cargo plane.
Oh, Atlas Air. Yeah, those are, man, Atlas. Those are old. Are you sure it's a Boeing?
Atlas Air Boeing cargo plane is what it says, was forced to make an emergency landing in Miami International Airport, experiencing an engine malfunction shortly after departure.
Because those Atlas and those guys, they fly like, those planes are like 40 years old.
Workhorses, safely landed, nobody was hurt.
Yeah, they fly mostly, I'm thinking those are old 747s, probably.
747-8.
There you go. Oh, like I said, old 747s.
Mm-hmm. Funny story. We got new internet this week. I changed to Xfinity, and I was still on the old internet. Funny story.
Funny story that's no longer there anymore, right?
Well, it's still there. I know I'm going to cancel it today, but for whatever reason, I connect to the old internet. Funny story. Boeing party. You guys join the Boeing party eventually, right? You guys have a Boeing position now, right?
We do. We didn't do very well. I should speak for myself. I didn't do very well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I heard you talking about that yesterday. So,
yeah.
I rolled puts. I was in February, rolled them to March, the 205, and then eventually I turned it into like sort of a modified Jade Lizard where I got upside call spread, the 215 to 25 in Feb. So, I mean, this is the thing, right? It's going to be news, right? I mean, earlier this week it was down because it was grounded, but then it bounced yesterday because of this plane order. So that's the annoying part. It's just going to remain in the news, and I think we're going to have to deal with it. Swaps are pricing chances for a March rate cut dropped from 80% to now about 51% as of this morning. So that's been the biggest discussion all week. Every single day, it's like, oh, it seems like we're not going to cut rates as much as previously thought. I always thought it was kind of crazy that we'd have a March rate cut. Obviously, there's still a chance, but it seemed a little too early. I feel like it should be June, July, and I certainly don't think we're going to get 6, 7, whatever they were expecting, but we'll see what it plays out to be. Another big thing for the week, dollar and 10-year yield are rising and stocks are rising. So all three of these are at 1-month highs, which seems out of whack, actually. Seems a little bit nuts. Crude oil is holding above 73. We keep hearing about all this out of the Middle East. And then finally, with the big move, especially we saw on Wednesday, actually, Tony and I were talking about this. We've seen some big movements around these VIX expirations recently for some reason or another. I don't know if they're correlated, but we had a big move on Wednesday. January VIX expired on Wednesday. So VVIX and VIX both touched 2-month highs this week before retreating to lower levels. So you got Boeing moving around quite a bit. You got all this discussion around rate cut kind of pushing yields left and right. And you've seen yields, dollar, and stocks move to highs. And, of course, crude oil has been moving around quite a bit with all these tensions. So kind of an interesting week, even though there were really not many events. Kind of an interesting week.
Move to the next slide. Week, yes, too. Mm-hmm.
True, yes, because we didn't have Monday. So interesting short week. How interesting? This is basically intraday moves that we've seen in SPX. Most of them since the beginning of the year, we've seen some 1% intraday moves. So we've been moving around a lot, right? Like, even though there's really hasn't been a whole lot. I mean, sure, like, I think one of these days was probably a CPI report in there, but there really hasn't been any major events, and we've been still seeing some intraday big moves, if you will, 1%, a little over 1%, 1.5%. We saw one yesterday, right? I mean,
Yep.
yesterday
Yep.
we were up like 0.5%. We dropped down to flat, and then we ended the day, I think, close to up 1%. So it's been like that recently.
Yeah.
Move to the next slide. 10 and 2 spread. It's close to steepening to flat. Do you guys have this on anymore?
No.
What you got? What you got in that red Solo cup?
Beer.
Again, Tom, I've been telling you this.
Yeah, this thing is close to steepening back to flat. I mean, again, it only took a hit to yesterday because of the big move up in the twos as opposed to the tens, but it's getting close. I don't know what happens when it gets there. I don't know.
It was a hard hold. All I can say is I'm out, but that was a trade that it was really hard to hold. I don't know if it was. I don't think it was worth it.
Tied up a lot of capital and then just
Tied up a lot of capital. I think we ended up breaking even, making a little bit of money on it. It wasn't worth the risk.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing really you could do different, though. It looked like the trade of the century.
No. It looks like the trade of the century. Yeah, I mean, it was, sold off for so long though. There's no way you could bought the absolute bottom.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's move ahead to the next slide. I mean, I know this is beating a dead horse, but the Chinese stocks continue to struggle. Baidu had a really big move to the downside the other day. The search engines being linked to the Chinese military. I mean, IVRs are high in some of these. The tendency is to want to get short puts, but I haven't pulled the trigger on any yet. I mean, I do have a Baidu position, a long-term Baidu position in the IRA account, but other than that, I haven't traded any of these in any near-term accounts. I don't know if you guys still are. I know one point in time you were really high and mighty about Chinese stocks. You still care or what?
I mean, I'm long FXI, Baidu, and Baba.
I mean, FXI is $21 now. FXI is the lowest we've seen since like 2008.
I know. I'm long FXI. I bought some stock the other day. I sold a little bit on the rally yesterday morning. It's back down to the lows today. I'm debating whether to reload. I probably will.
It's just price, right? I mean, that's what.
Yeah, there's nothing else to it.
Nothing else. Mm-hmm.
Debating whether to reload.
21.33 right now. That's kind of right where we bought it last time. Under 21.30.
Mm-hmm.
I rarely say this, Tony, but we are all time right now. Waiting, debating whether to reload. We are all time right now.
Yep.
Let's move to the next slide. So TSM, positive earnings. We saw a big rally in the NASDAQ and the chip stocks. AMD and NVIDIA have really been on a run recently. AMD is particularly surprising, big move. And vol is still pretty elevated in there. I think part of it is the earnings coming up, but it's just really been on the move more recently.
January 30th for earnings, yes.
January 30th, yes. DWAC has been ripping since Trump won the Iowa caucus. Stock has been on the move. It's really no trade, honestly. I mean, the option markets in there are criminal. They trade by appointment, but it's really been sort of a sign of some things to come, I suppose. We're going to get some volatility down the pipe.
Yeah, I looked at markets in there yesterday because it was having a good size move. I was looking for something to trade that didn't have earnings, that kind of thing. And you're right. The option markets at least are untradeable. Stock was tight.
Yeah, but the option market, I've looked too, and you can't really do anything.
No.
It sucks.
Yep.
Bitcoin, as we all expected, retreated after the news of ETFs, and it's down 10%. It's a big move this week too, down 10% to the lowest level since December. Earnings next week, we're getting to the thick of it. We're just beginning to, but next week we got some airlines that have had earnings, which of course the airlines have been dragged down more recently because of Boeing. We got Intel and we got Netflix and Tesla are some of the bigger names that have earnings next week. I mean, honestly, we got GDP on Thursday. We never really move on GDP, but core PCE could be one, obviously a measure of inflation. We could see something next Friday on that. And then research this week, Jan 17th, OJ, IV responses to large daily moves. Check that out.
Beautiful. Good job, Jamal. Solid enough parting words. Even the S&P is up 17.5. They're about as low as I've seen them all morning since we've been on the show.
Yeah, they've dropped about 13 handles from their highs. No, no. I just want to get the market open. I want to get the pain over with on the opening and then figure out what we want to do.
We'll be back in 90 seconds. We're going to take a beat and you listen to Tasty Live. Opening bell next. Goodbye, Jamal.